And today, our guest investor, star of the show, is a gentleman who comes from the Northeast, recently relocated to Houston. He is somebody that started watching the show and now he's on the show. Look, Ma, he made it. It is Shawn McCarvell. Shawn, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
What are you investing in these days? What does your portfolio look like?
Yeah, I got 3 family houses in Connecticut. That's actually where it all started. I had a condo down in Myrtle Beach. And then from that point on is when I went down to Jacksonville, and I picked up one property, a single. And then I went down, I got a duplex, another single, and I just recently picked up another single in December. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. We're going through the refinance process and the rehab. And then I'm expecting to be down there in July, August and pick up like 3 to 5 more before the year ends.
I love that,
so
man.
That's the plan.
That's great. Full-time real estate investor. You got properties in 3 different states, 4 different cities, making moves, man. I love that story.
Yeah.
Shawn, so you did not buy these properties with JWB. You bought these properties. You were already a fan of the show, but you bought them with somebody else, and you had somebody else property managing before you changed. You want to tell us kind of what happened there and like give us a peek into that journey?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I went down to Jacksonville. I had already had one property down there. And then I was looking to pick up some more, and I had an agent that was with me, and she was really good at doing the wholesaling deals and you know, get them relatively inexpensive. So she got me and my buddy that believed in me. I gotta give him a shout out, my man Big Kurt out in PA.
Shout out to Big Kurt.
Shout out. Yeah, so we went down there, and she picked us up a property, a duplex and a single, and I had said I'm probably gonna go through JWB because I know that what they're doing. I know that they're really, they got a nice little hold on Jacksonville, to be honest with you. So she says, oh, I have a property management company. And being the loyal guy that I am, I said, okay, it's only right that I go through you. So what happens is she had somebody else doing the work for her. It was like her company, but someone else was doing the work for her. And it just wasn't up to my standards. And after talking to her, it wasn't even up to her standards. So she let the person go that I just found out earlier recently. And there's the things that were the problems with the lack of communication. I said earlier, before when we were talking, Pablo, that I was having a rehab done. So I had people going to one of the houses. And so I went there and the lady didn't expect me coming because the message was never relayed. So she said to me, what if I didn't know who you were and I came out with my gun? I was like, well, good thing that didn't happen. So anyway, the point of the matter was I gave her my phone number and I said, okay, call me or I'll let you know whenever someone's coming down there now. And what was happening was that was her opportunity to call me and put me on basically game as to everything that was going on or not going on. So then I put in my 2-month termination, my 60-day notice. And then at that point in time, I started talking to Mike Stewart at JWB. And I said, here's one right now that I have, and the rest of them will be yours in June. And that's where we are now.
Incredible. I love having Shawn on the show here for so many reasons because of our relationship. And it's also really wonderful to see somebody else that we're able to help in a very different capacity. 25% of the properties we manage are for outside investors like Shawn. So it's really wonderful to see how we can work together in a slightly different capacity, because this is something that we've got this property management that's built. And it's such an asset to have effective property management if you believe in holding on to these assets long-term. And it's not perfect. It's not right for everybody to be buying the turnkey way. So I hope this is a beginning, especially for those folks who are watching on the show and may have other properties in the Jacksonville market. JWB is open for business for property management clients. That's like what we do. And so it's really cool to hear your story, bud.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
What did it take for you to start getting into this game?
Well, it's kind of a funny story, and it has a whole bunch of turns and twists to it. But I originally, I remember when I was in middle school, we had a science teacher. He was a teacher by day, an investor by night, I believe. So he was always talking about real estate. And the word around the school was that he was a pretty smart guy and pretty wealthy. Like he did this teaching job was for fun.
Cool.
So he was really into real estate. And I used to always tell my mom at the time, we need to buy a house. We need to buy a house. We need to buy a house. Not necessarily thinking about a real estate, but just to get out of a better neighborhood, a better house. And, the money wasn't there, whatever. She was single mom. So we had to do what we had to do. But that was one part. Another part of it was I wasn't always in the position that I'm in now. I had, this is funny, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I got to keep it 100. I used to like be that guy that had a girlfriend and I stayed there. And sometimes I didn't come home on time and my stuff was in the street. so I said to myself, I said, you know what? I'm never going to put myself in a situation again. I'm just going to start buying properties. And then, so I initially bought 3 families and I would live in one and the other, rent out the other 2. And then, I got another one. And then I just started becoming, my life became more and more flexible. I started having money to go places and do things that I never had before. And then it brought me so much freedom. And then it changed me as a person. It changed my mindset, how I started looking at things, how I started thinking. And it just became somewhat like addictive, so to speak. It's just like, I just want to get more. I just want to get more. I love being free. I love being able to go wherever I can. And obviously, like, I want to be able to help other people out, and I want to be able to help my family out as well. So it's, that's, all of them together combined, got me moving and motivated me.
I love hearing that. It's just so cool to hear the motivations and the reasons why from our clients, right? Clients like Shawn.
Hey man, I just gotta just tell the truth, man. I find out the best motivation, but it is motivation to help me along the way.
What are you telling them? Like, what's the step for somebody that was in your position 5 years ago to start, moving this way?
Well, my buddy Kurt, he had already picked up a house in Pennsylvania, so he was already on track. He wanted to move forward and scale his business. So I said, come on, let's do something together here. And so he's listening. The people that aren't listening, and what I tell them is, I walk the way I walk and I talk the way I talk, and I'm just basically saying, like, if I could do this, so can you. Like, I'm nobody different. I'm no special. I wasn't born with a whole bunch of stuff going on. So if I could do it, all you got to do is just change your mindset. You have to obviously look at money differently, and you have to I don't, this is a tough one for me because I tell them all the same thing, but they just, some of them listen, some of them don't, but I don't really know how it all came about. Really, it just kind of like, I was reading books, I was listening to JWB, I was watching, and then I started putting it into place, and things started moving in the right direction. And I try to, just say that. But the hardest thing I'll tell anybody is getting off your feet and starting. Right. But once you start, you're going to keep on moving forward. And that's all I ever say. I say, you're going to run into problems. Trust me, I did. Yep. But just keep moving forward. And that's what I say. And I just tell them, like, you have a job, call up a mortgage, call up a lender, call up a bank, get qualified. And I always tell people, and this is probably a little bit against what JWB does, because JWB is more single family, but where I'm from in Connecticut, we have a lot of multis. So I always say, the way I started, go get yourself a multi. If you don't have a house, get yourself a little FHA loan, 2 or 3K, fix it up, clean it up, live in one, rent out the other 2. And then when the time comes, it may take a year, 2 or 3, I don't know when, go ahead and refinance that property, take that money out and do it again. And then just continue that process over time. And it's no sprint, it's a marathon, but you have to start. You can't just sit here and talk to me about it and always tell me no. I said, you need to open your mind and start saying, well, how can I do this? What do I need to do? Stop saying, well, I can't, because that's what I hear all the time. And I just, well, you need to open up. And, that's probably what I would say to most of the time, to be honest. So you just know, it's no like formula. It's just get off your butt and let's go. Yeah.
Super inspiring, man. You're in multiple markets. What brought you to Jacksonville?
Well, honestly, like, I went to a convention and this is post quitting my job. And this is when I was all, 110% into real estate. I went down to Jacksonville to a convention, and one of the speakers was saying that the mayor here is doing a lot of big things. He said, this place is coming up. Before you know it, people are going to start knowing about it. And like I said, we went on a tour. We looked at some houses. I think they brought us to the worst houses possible. So I didn't have the best feel for Jacksonville. It was a little bit different from what I'm used to. So I went back though. And I said, you know what? I'll be honest, like listening to JWB and seeing how they were moving and seeing how things were moving and listening to Greg talk, putting everything into perspective, I said, you know what? I got to go down and give Jacksonville another chance, because it's not what's today, it's about what's tomorrow. So, you know, I have to think about that. I have to start putting that in place, because if you go down and you see what it is right now, you're going to walk away, and that's a big mistake. So I went down and I picked up one, and then I started moving around the properties, you know, the different neighborhoods that Greg was talking about. And I say the 08s, the 5-4s, the 11s was really big, you know, 4-4 maybe, but whatever. So I was just going down there and I started, you know, looking at it, and I started seeing how people were talking, and they were saying, yeah, this house back in the day was like 30,000. Now it's like 60. And then, you know, a couple of years, and that might be 100 now, depending, I don't know. The rents are skyrocketing. People were really talking. Some people were hitting a negative way. Some people were appreciating the movement. So I was in Connecticut. I knew Connecticut very well, but Connecticut, where I lived, is Waterbury, Connecticut, and it's not really growing the right way. First of all, it's cold. We ain't got the Florida sun. We don't have the beach. So Jacksonville had everything. Not to mention, though, the airport, not to mention that they had the truck, obviously, had the boat, the docks. It had everything so that Amazon was able to go in there and create jobs. So there was a lot of things that were going on in Jacksonville. And I said, you know what, let me just focus down there and pick up everything and get as many as I can before it gets to the point where everyone finds out about it. And that's really why I stopped in Connecticut, and I focused primarily on Jacksonville at this point in time.
Interesting. There you go. Getting in the game. Shawn, any final words of encouragement for people that want to be like, man, I'm here now in 4 years. I want to tell the same story as Shawn. Any kind of pieces of advice?
My best advice is, like I said, just whatever. I don't know where they are, but I would just call a lender. As long as you have a job, call the bank. If you don't have a job, call private money or hard money or whatever. But just make that initial phone call and get the ball rolling, and then, you know, take it one step at a time, and you'll be there. It's really not that hard, to be honest. It's just, you just gotta get in the game, man. That's gonna be the new saying: get in the game.